Hey everybody, welcome back to Captain Clyde's MTG. This is your captain speaking. As always, we're here for Strixhaven leaks. So moving forward, this is April 1st, but this is no joke. These are real cards, and we're going to talk about them now. So down in the comments, guys, give me some ideas of what you think some of the best cards are, what you think about them. We'll have a talk later. Also, moving forward, hit the like and subscribe button. Let your friends know about the channel and show your support. I really do appreciate it. After these leaks are out, guys, coming up this weekend, we can get back to box openings. Just want to make sure we get these leaks out so everybody can see all the new sweet things that are coming out. So let's start this going. So, first off, we'll start with the Secret Rendezvous. It's a 2 white, 1 colorless. It says you and target opponent each draw 3 cards. So 3 mana sorcery for white seems great. If this doesn't say group hug, I don't know what does. So this will be your very next EDH deck near you. So, moving on, Devastating Mastery. We have 4 white and 2 colorless. You may pay 2 white and 2 colorless to destroy all non-land permanents, but if you pay the alternate casting cost, an opponent gets to choose 2 non-land permanents they control and return them to the battle and return them to their owner's hands. So it does buy you a little bit of time. It's almost a board wipe. It's a little better than Wrath because it does get enchantments and everything else as well. But I don't know if it's really going to be that good. So I don't see a lot of promise in it. Might be a bulk rare. Moving on. Next, we have the Alwyn Shield Mage. White, black, 3, so 5 mana for a 3/3 flyer. It has Ward, which means you pay 3 life. So whenever you target something with Ward, the player has to do whatever the Ward fee is to actually target it, or it gets countered. This one here is to pay 3 life. So definitely nothing that we're going to see in Standard, but probably going to be a pretty good card for Draft. Moving on here, we have the Malevolent Band. This creature has Death Touch and comes in the field with 2 +1/+1 counters. When it dies, you can move all the counters that are on the Malevolent Band to another creature you control. So that's pretty sweet. It is a common. Once again, don't see standard play, I don't think. But I do think this is going to be a draft good one. Moving on next, we have the Silver Quill Silencer. It says here when it comes into play that you choose a non-land card name. Whenever the opponent casts a card of that name, they lose 3 life and you get to draw a card. Plus, this is a red and a black for a 3/2. That's pretty sweet. Not to mention the extra ability. I definitely think this is going to be seeing some play. Even in standard. Like, this is just really sweet. Moving on. Next here, we have what's called the esoteric subtraction. It's an instant. Target creature gets -4/-0. Plus, it has learn. For those of you who don't know what learn is, whenever you cast a card with learn, you get to get a card with learn from your sideboard, i.e. outside the game. Or you may discard a card and draw a card. So that's a pretty sweet mechanic, and we'll talk about that later. It's good common. Definitely won't see standard play, but definitely will be real big in draft. Next here, we have the Frog Mystic. It has Flash. It's a 2/1 for 2. And when it comes into play, target creature gets -1/-0. Not too shabby. Decent blue removal spell. Probably a draft card. Next here, we have, as if you couldn't read it from the top there, basically Unstable Transformation. So what this means is it is a sorcery and it's a lesson. So this is one of the cards you can put in your sideboard, bring it in from outside the game. You can choose when you cast it until end of turn, a creature becomes a 1/1, loses all abilities and becomes a 1/1 frog or a 4/4 octopus. Kind of interesting. So you can actually make a good blocker or shrink down a creature to kill it from the opponent. So it's a nice uncommon. It's not going to see standard play, but I think this is going to be a great card for draft, and people are going to be using this a lot for combat tricks. Next thing here we have the Talent Exam. Now this card here as an uncommon, I think is going to be a real hot one. I think this is definitely going to see standard play, and let me read it to you to tell you why. So, Talent Exam here says, counter target instant or sorcery. Search the hand, the graveyard, and library for any of those cards and exile them. If any cards are exiled from the hand that you just countered with this spell, they basically get to draw a card to replace it. So, this is almost like those black cards that you can search through and exile every card in someone's deck. so they can't cast them again, except this one counters the first one, so they waste their turn casting it, and then you get to go through and then jerk the rest of them out of the deck for a blue and a colorless. It's only an uncommon. I think this shows lots of promise. I mean, think about it, guys. You're playing this in a counterspell deck. They counterspell one of your things. You recounter with this. If you win the fight, this hits every counterspell they have, and they come out of their deck. Get rid of their instant or sorceries if they're kill conditions. Just, I think this card's got lots of promise. I think we're going to see it get played. So as we move on, next here we have what's called the Dream Strix, as if you couldn't tell by looking at it. It's a blue and 2 colorless, rare. The Dream Strix has flying, and it has, if it gets targeted, it gets sacked, and when it dies, you get to learn. So you have a 3/2 flyer for 3 that can beat someone in the face, and then once they kill it, you can go get another card to replace it. I think this is a great card. It's going to be huge in draft, and it may even see some standard play. So here we have the Access Tunnel. It's an uncommon land. Taps for a colorless, and for 3 and tapping it, target creature power 3 or less can't be blocked this turn. Nothing fantastic here. Could see some draft play just because of the ability to give some evasion. But other than that, it's probably as far as that's going to go. Next here, we have a lesson. Like I mentioned before, when you learn, you can go get these out of your sideboard or outside the game. Really good in draft. So we have Inkling Summoning. Basically 3 mana to create a 2/1 white blitz. A 2/1 white and black Inkling creature token with flying. So 3 mana for a 2/1 flyer. Not the best thing. Definitely won't see standard play. Probably will see some draft play. Next here we have Closing Statement. So it's 5 mana. This spell actually costs 2 less if you cast it during your end step. And it's destroy target creature or planeswalker you don't control. Put a +1/+1 counter on up to 1 target creature you control. So, this thing's going to see tons of play. I mean, come on, guys. It's 2 less if you cast during your end step. So, if you're just telling me that I just had to end my turn and then blow up what's killing me for 2 less mana, it sounds like a deal. I mean, does this card sound familiar to anybody? I mean, Hero's Downfall, 2 black and 1, did the exact same thing except it didn't put counters on stuff. I mean, yeah, you can, and also, if you don't want to use it during your end step, for 5, you can cast it anytime you want. I mean, so to use it during your end step, it's almost like a sorcery, but it has that ability only if you need to use it. Otherwise, it's an instant. So I think this is going to be a card that everybody's going to start playing. I just don't see how you don't want to run a removal spell that kills creatures and planeswalkers. We haven't had this in forever, especially at a cheap cost. Yeah, I see lots of play for this in every format except, obviously Modern's not going to see this get played probably, but definitely going to be a standard powerhouse and definitely a draft powerhouse. All right, next here we got another rare. It says Dramatic Finale, 4 mana, white-black hybrid mana. Creature tokens you control get +1/+1 whenever one or more non-token creatures you control dies. You get to create a 2/1 white and black Inkling creature, token with flying. The only ability triggers only once every turn. I think this could be a thing, especially in a tokens deck. You get 2 of these out maybe, and you lay 1 creature and it dies, and it triggers each of these. So you get two 2/1s, and then they both get +2/+2. So now they're 4/3s and they fly. I think the black-white token thing is definitely going to be a theme in standard. I don't think we're going to see it anywhere else, but I think it will be a good draft powerhouse if you can actually manage to get enough cards to make it work. But standard, definitely going to be a thing. Next here we have Necrotic Fumes, 2 black and a colorless. As additional cost to cast this spell, you exile a creature you control. And it says to exile target creature or planeswalker. So this is an uncommon lesson. You can go fetch it if you really need an effect like this. But needing to have a creature to exile that's on the battlefield already, you're 2 for 1ing yourself. I mean, yeah, if you need to do it, you need to do it. But if you don't have a creature, this card's useless. So I don't see this being better than the one that you cast on your end step for 3. That's black-white. Moving on. Oops. My bad. We have basic conjuration. So 2 green and 1 for a rare. It's a lesson, so it's probably busted. Look at the top 6 cards of your library. You may reveal a creature card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order, and you gain 3 life. Yeah, I mean, If you can get this as a lesson and put it into your hand, sounds great. If you have it in your deck, it looks good too. 3 mana, look at the top 6. Is it game breaking? No. Is it going to be something that busts the format? No. It's going to be great and sealed and draft. Probably won't see standard play very much unless it becomes a sideboard thing that people go fetch it with lesson cards. Next, oh my lord, I need to slow myself down here. So what we have here is a awful picture that somebody posted with stuff on it. But anyway, the card's actually called Leyline Invocation. It is a sorcery, and you make a fractal token with this one that's a 0/0, and it gets +1/+1 for every land you control. So basically, it's a 6/6 for 6. Unless you ramp or have some other mana source, that's what size it's always going to be. But if you ramp to 6 lands real quick, maybe cast it on turn 4, 6/6 on turn 4, not too bad, but it's equal cost for the casting, so yeah, it's common. It'll probably see sealed play, and that's it. Next, oh my god, this thing's so touchy. What we have here is we have the fracture, sorry, it's an instant. This thing's going to be a powerhouse. It's black-white. Black-white's going to be a powerhouse just in general. This black-white instant destroys target artifact, enchantment, or a planeswalker. So it doesn't kill creatures, but this is going to be an amazing sideboard card if the environment turns to those being big powerhouses, just because 2 mana to destroy any of that stuff. I mean, the utility of this card is amazing. Foil is going to be worth a lot of money, I think. I just think this is going to be a powerhouse. So move on a little bit. Next we have the Umbral Juke. That's a funny way to say that. But anyway, black and 2, so it's 3 mana for an instant that says target player sacrifices a creature or planeswalker. That's pretty sweet. And then the other one is you make a 2/1 inkling token with flying. So this could also be a very good card that gets play. They get the pick, so it really brings it back a notch, but it is an instant. You can't make a creature with it, which gives it a bonus. I think it's going to see some play. I don't think it's going to be a powerhouse, but I think it's going to be something we're going to have to watch out for. So as we move on, next here we have Charge Through. Looks like they're playing the game again. So 1 green for an instant, target creature gains trampled at the end of the turn, draw a card. For a common, I think this is great. Standard play, probably not. Draft all day long because it gives trample, it draws a card, it helps you cycle. Like, I just see this having a lot of ability. So not bad for a common. Next here we have a rare called Double Major. Blue and a green, instant, copy target creature spell you control, except it isn't legendary if the spell is legendary. Wow. So I'm kind of on the fence, because basically what this is saying is you have to cast the spell and then double major it. So you have to have the able to cast a spell +2. I think it's got promise. I'm not going to say it's bad, but I don't see it being good just jumping off the page at me. But we'll see how it goes. Definitely an EDH card. I think this will probably be something those EDH players love. So next here we have the Show of Confidence. It's a white and colorless instant. When you cast this spell, copy it for each other instant and sorcery spell you have cast this turn. You may choose new targets for the copies. Put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. It gains vigilance until end of turn. So I was worried there for a minute when it basically had Storm on it, but the actual ability it doesn't really do a whole lot. So I'm not really worried about it. Decent draft card. Probably won't be anything we see in standard. Simple as that. Moving on, we have a common here. Fuming Effigy. 4 mana red card, 4/3, basic casting cost and power. Whenever one or more cards leave the graveyard, the effigy deals 1 damage to each opponent. This could be a decent sideboard card if cards jerking out of the graveyard becomes a thing. Just as kind of a counter effect to stop them from doing that while you kill them. But other than that, I don't see this doing too much. Next, Essence Infusion, black and a colorless sorcery. Put 2 +1/+1 counter on target creature. It gains lifelink to the end of turn. Not bad. Nothing we're going to see in standard. Could definitely be a draft card, but it's really going to depend on how good your deck is. Next here we have Soothsayer Adept. 1 blue and a colorless for a 1/3. For 2 mana, tap, draw a card, then discard a card. It's almost a merfolk looter. It even says merfolk on it, but you got to pay mana for it. But as a common, I think it's great. It'd be real good in draft. Probably not going to see it in standard. Next, we have the Tome Shredder. 3 mana for 2/2, has haste. Exile insert sorcery card from your graveyard. Put a +1/+1 counter on Tome Shredder. Good common. Don't see it being a thing in standard. This could be great in draft though. You make itself bigger and gets in there quick if you have a chance. So not shabby, not too shabby. Moving on. Next spell we have here is the Pilgrim of the Ages. It's a white and 2 colorless for a 2/1, so 3 for 2/1. When Pilgrim of the Ages enters the battlefield, you may search your library for a basic plains card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle. For 6, return Pilgrim of the Ages from the graveyard to your hand. So as a common, this is pretty sweet. I mean, it's white ramp. Don't get that very often. I think this is definitely going to be something that those EDH players are going to clamor over. So the foil of this is going to be worth some money, especially to spec out those sweet decks that they got. But other than that, I don't think we're going to see this in anything really. Next here, we have a bookworm. So for 8 mana and 1 green, you get a 7/7 trampler. When bookworm enters the battlefield, you gain 3 life and draw a card. For a green and 2, put bookworm from your graveyard into the library, 3rd from the top. Alright, so we've seen this before. It's basically a Palooka worm that gets to recycle itself. Not too bad for an uncommon. I remember the Palooka worm being rare, but whatever. So next here we have Mentor's Guidance. So a blue and 2 colorless. Whenever you cast this spell, copy it if you control a planeswalker, cleric, druid, shaman, warlock, or wizard. Sweet Jesus. Scry 1, then draw a card. As an uncommon, it's pretty sweet. However, it's a sorcery. It could be a thing if like a blue X control deck with planeswalkers becomes a thing. But the sorcery thing is really going to probably knock it out of contention because there's too many things that go at instant speed. Even though it is 3 mana, I just don't think it's powerful enough. Obviously, in draft, it's awesome. So next here, we have the Novice Dissector. 4 mana for a 3/3, not too bad. For 1, sacrifice another creature. You put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. You only use this ability as a sorcery. Not too bad. It is a common. It might see a little draft play, but that might be as far as that goes. Next here we have Detention Vortex, 1 white. Enchantment Aura, enchant non-land permanent. Enchanted permanent can't attack or block, and its activated abilities can't be activated. 3 in colorless. Destroy Detention Vortex. Only your opponents may activate this ability, and only as a sorcery. Alright, so there for a second, I thought we had a sweet one. I mean, this is great. It stops planeswalkers. It stops everything for 1 white. It's basically pacifism of thing. But since your opponent can spend 3 mana to get rid of it, it basically just stops them from doing something for a turn. So, especially with like when you're looking at planeswalkers, since you don't have to pay mana to activate their abilities, you could easily, just destroy the enchantment and then activate their ability. So, I don't see this being a really good thing. On draft, it could be okay. But all in all, I don't think this is going to be anything spectacular. Moving on. We have a lesson that's a mythic. Mascot Exhibition. So 7 colorless mana for this lesson. It says create a 2/1 white and black inkling creature token with flying, a 3/2 red and white spirit token, and a 4/4 blue. Alright, so for 7 mana, you basically get 9 power and 7 toughness. I mean, in draft, it's going to be a powerhouse. The kind of thing you dream of. Standard, not going to be a thing. I just don't see this being a thing. Moving on. So next, exponential growth. 2 green, 2 green and 2x colorless. Until end of turn, double target creature's power x times. So for 4 mana, you can double their power. And then for 6 mana, you can double it twice. It's a sorcery. It's okay. Don't see it being a powerhouse. Great in draft. But I don't think this is going to be a thing. Moving on. Symmetry Sage. 1 blue for an 0/2. Flying. Magecraft. Whenever you cast or copy an instant sorcery spell, Target creature you control has base power 2 until end of turn. It's awful. Even as an uncommon, I mean, it could be okay on draft, but it still doesn't have any power in the front end. So it's basically the worst flying man ever because also it doesn't gain extra power. It's only ever a 2. Yeah, hate this thing. It's awful. Moving on. Again, Vanishing Verse, a black-white card that says exile target mono-colored permanent. Wow. And it's an instant and it's a rare. This seems black-white has all the removal in this set, guys. There's definitely gonna be a black-white deck. I mean, I know it's Silver Quill, don't get me wrong. There's gonna be decks for every, faction and house or what have you. But this thing just seems the removal and the cards in this black-white set stuff just seems nuts. Definitely a powerhouse. May even see some modern play because of the mono-colored thing. Definitely gonna see standard play probably. So yeah. Moving on. Next here we have Promising Dustmage. It's 3 mana for a 2/3. When it dies, if you had a +1/+1 counter on it, you draw a card. Definitely gonna see draft play, but that's probably as far as this is gonna go. Next, okay, so this is the campus for the black-white, just like all the other ones, comes in taps. 4 mana, it scries. Moving on. Okay, Silver Quill Pledge Mage. This one is hybrid mana of black-white for 2 and 1 colorless for a 3/1. The Magecraft says that it gains your choice of flying or lifelink. Not too shabby. Could be better. It is a common, so not much to expect there. Definitely a great draft card, but not for standard. Moving on. All right, so here we have a modal card, a rare one. We have Deadly Vanity Side, which is 3 black and 5, so 8 mana. As a sorcery, it says choose a creature or planeswalker, then destroy all other creatures and planeswalkers. So this could be a great card as part of like a control deck, but 8 mana is so much. This cleric on the other side better be da bomb. So as we look at the cleric on the other side, we have the selfless glyph weaver, which is a white and 2 colors for a 2/3. You exile the glyph weaver, creatures you control gain indestructible to end of turn. Yeah, this card's not a thing. Moving on. Next here we have Humiliate. Again, black-white card, sorcery, probably good. Target opponent reveals their hand. You choose a non-land card from it. That player discards that card. Put a +1/+1 counter on a creature you control. Ooh, man, that does seem good. That just seems good. Anyway, but we got 2 mana to discard spells all over the place. So moving on. We have Killian, the Ink Duelist. Black and a white for a 2/2, so it's already on power for a good vanilla creature. It's a legendary human warlock, so that means it's got to be good. It has lifelink and menace. That is already sweet. Spells you cast that target a creature cost 2 less to cast. Oh my lord. This thing is nuts. 2 mana for a 2/2 with lifelink and menace, and all your spells that target creatures are now 2 less. Like this thing's amazing. There's definitely going to be a white-black creature deck with lots of removal, and this thing's going to be definitely a powerhouse in it. So as we move on, we have a mythic for the silver quills. Blot out the sky. X white black. So here it says create X tapped 2/1 white and black inkling creature tokens with flying. If X is 6 or more, so 8 mana, destroy all non-creature, non-land permanents. Non-creature, non-land. Oh, okay, so it wipes it. So you get to keep the 2/1s, which would be 6. 6, you get to keep 6 2/1s, and you destroy everything else but not creatures. Could be a thing. It could be a thing. Yeah, I mean, depending how the black-white deck turns out, like a one of this in that deck could really be a thing. Move on. Oh, Goddess Luca. How bad is this? Luca, the Wayward Bounder. So 2 red, 4 colors for 6 mana with 5 loyalty. This Planeswalker is a mythic. It says +1, you may discard a card. If you do, draw a card. If a creature card was discarded this way, draw 2 cards instead. Sweet mother of God. That is way too good. But at least he's 6 mana. Well, let's see what the rest we got here. Return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Gains haste. Exile at the beginning of your next upkeep. Oh, sweet God. So this is going straight into combo decks with big nappy creatures. Yeah, I already don't like this Planeswalker. So -7, get an emblem with whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, it deals damage equal to its power to any target. Man, this is going to be another Luca card. It's going to end up being banned or people just hate, just like the last one. Yeah, like this is definitely going to be an EDH thing. I mean, it's only going to be good in standard as a combo card. It's not going anywhere else. But while it's in standard, it's going to have to be something we put up with. So let's check the other side, see how broken it is, because this is a modal card. So we have Mila, the crafty companion, which is apparently his fox. So 3 mana white card, it's a mythic, obviously. It's 2/3. Whenever an opponent attacks one or more planeswalkers you control, put a loyalty counter on each planeswalker you control. Sweet mother of God. Whenever a permanent you control becomes the target of a spell or ability an opponent controls, you may draw a card. What the? Come on. Really, guys? Do we really need white cards that make you draw things? Because you play this, they kill it, you draw a card, it replaces itself. You have other creatures, you play this, or whatever it is else that you got going on. Like, you don't even need to play the red side of this. You play this in a white-black deck so that they got to kill your stuff, and you just draw cards like it's going out of business for 3 mana. This is going to be one of those cards in a white/X deck that you have to kill first, and they still get to draw a card off of it before you can kill any of their other creatures. I think this is just too much. I don't think this is a good idea. I mean, it's going to be a powerhouse. Everybody's going to play it. Don't get me wrong. It's a very powerful card, especially with Luca on the backside. But this is going to be one of those other annoying cards we have to deal with. Because before I move on, I just got to say this. It says spell or ability, permanent. So, they target your enchantments, your artifacts, other creatures, your planeswalkers. It doesn't matter what they target your land, and you get to draw cards. Yeah, this is just going to be... this thing's going to be everywhere. All right, so great, another white mythic. That's what we need. Mavidia's Student's Advocate. So this is a 3 mana for a 2/3. Obviously, it flies, because why wouldn't it? It's a giant bird. For 0, you may cast target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard this turn. What? If that spell doesn't target a creature you control, it costs 8 more to cast this way. If that spell would be put into your graveyard, exile it instead. Activate this ability only once. Okay, so that's not terrible. I thought that was going to get out of hand real quick. However, I don't like the idea that you can still do it to... It only costs 8 more for creatures if you don't target your creature. So everything's game from pump spells to fight spells to anything like that that's going to give you that kind of advantage. And I bet you there's going to be something out there that does it. Yeah, I think this might be a thing. We'll have to see what the format looks like, but I think this is going to be a thing. So moving on, next we have exhilarating allocation. So black, white, and 2 for 4. Put 2 +1/+1 counters on target creatures you control. Other creatures you control get +1/+1 to the end of turn. Nothing too great, just a draft card. Next, okay, we have a rare here called the Gnarled Professor. It's 4 mana 5/4. That's about right for green. Nope, has trample too. When it enters the battlefield, you learn. This seems slightly broken. I mean, you get a 5/4 trampler for 4, plus you draw a card of your choice from the sideboard. Obviously, going to be a powerhouse in draft. And it might even be really good in standard depending on how the format goes and what kind of lessons we end up with. Like this in a green-white deck where you can go get those lessons that let you destroy their target opponent's creatures or permanents. Yeah, this could definitely be a thing. Moving on. Next here we have a common. 4 mana 3/3 with trample and lifelink. Zombie Crocodile. Nothing fantastic. Good draft card. And then our last card of the video, the Retriever Phoenix. So red and 3 colors for a 2/2, flying in haste because it's a Phoenix, and why wouldn't it? When Retriever Phoenix enters the battlefield, if you cast it, learn. Okay? As long as Retriever Phoenix is in your graveyard, if you would learn, you may instead return Retriever Phoenix to your battlefield. Oh, that's busted as heck. So this is going to be a big thing, guys. The learn cards are already really good. And now with a Phoenix like this, first off, if you don't have the Phoenix, you can just learn and draw and discard till you do find one. You can even discard the Phoenix and then redraw another card, and then the next time you cast your learn card, just pick the Phoenix up out of the graveyard. Like, this is definitely going to be a powerhouse. This is going to be in decks. It's going to be a standard powerhouse. It may make it into modern depending on how good learn is and kind of the discard effects they got going on. So I would keep an eye on this one, guys. I think it's going to be a good one. So, with that said, I believe, yep, that is our last card of the day. So, another 30-minute video, guys. Sorry it did take so long. Do appreciate your time, and for those who stuck with me, thank you very much. Give me some comments down below, some cards that you think are hot and the ones that you think are not. And remember, guys, let's get out there, play some Magic with our friends and our family. Let's get to our local LGS and show some support. And as always, until next time, be kind.